Call 312-6-million. Injury law made personal. That's Ankin Law.
Our preview episodes will work like this. I'll be sharing the PECOTA projections from Baseball Prospectus. It's the 50th percentile projection. I'll be asking the question, what does a successful season look like? And feel free to play along at home, in the car, or at work in the comments section of the podcast page on SoxMachine.com. Yay or nay, I'm going to pose a question or a take to Jim and James. They either have to agree or disagree with that take. And then we'll play over-under on a key stat for each of these players. We're going to start with first base. And that, of course, is Munetaka Murakami, who is currently with Team Japan in the World Baseball Classic. PECOTA is projecting in 145 games for Murakami to hit 33 home runs, 77 RBIs, hit .232 with a .347 on base percentage, and slug .481. That is an .828 OPS. And James Fegan, I posed a question to you with Murakami. What does a successful 2026 season look like for him?
I think over 700 OPS, and you kind of get like the idea that he can hang here at least. I don't think that's like shining success in terms of being a big jolt to the offense, but I think you want to go into year two feeling like, all right, this is a big league bat. Maybe there's some tweaks we can get to these an asset. Obviously, he probably wants to do a lot better than that. He probably wants to be like, I think for fans to feel like this is like a something that matches the excitement of landing him. It's like something over like 115 WRC plus. That's probably what you need like to feel really good. But I think a situation where like this is a hitter you see as viable, you see him have like multiple good stretches in the league, or you start to see like demonstrated strength in some way. You could probably get that if you get over 700 OPS. That's probably like heavy slug and lower like batting average or OBP, tilted. But that's where I feel like, all right, this is still your starting first baseman next year, or at least somebody who's prominently in that playing time mix is what you like, something that makes the project feel like you want to go on. And like it's a real like continuing evolving question, like is this like a mainstay, or is this like a annual perennial like starting first baseman in the league? I think that's maybe the threshold he has to defeat, like where if it's like 680 OPS, it's a little bit like all right, we still are under contract for him, but like we probably need to start making other plans about what we're doing for this as soon as like mid-season 2027. I think if you have that level of struggle in it. So I don't want to go crazy for what it is, like as far as like, yeah, we want to extend this guy sort of thing. Like it's probably like in the 120 WRC plus range or something like that. Ideally, you're not overreacting to 2 months of him doing that and giving him an extension mid-June or something like that. But that's just me as someone who attended Notre Dame in the Charlie Weiss era. Type of fear rather than something that you should really worry about.
So if PECOTA is right on the 50th percentile projection at 828 OPS,
it's obviously awesome.
Yeah, okay. So James is kind of lowering the bar on Murakami, but I understand the rationale.
Because of how statistically fabulous he was in Japan, like a projection system is going to naturally be like overly bullish on him in a way that can't really replicate the specific challenge of his transfer over from one league to another that you would get from just a simple like your basic like equivalency projection that you would get from lesser league to higher league. So yeah, if he hits any of his projections, it's great. It's amazing.
I would sign up for these PECOTA projections. If Murakami hit 33 home runs and an 828 OPS, Jim, I would be absolutely thrilled. When was the last time Jose Abreu? I mean, that's the last first baseman that came anywhere close to putting those numbers for the White Sox at that corner. So I want to play yay or nay with you, Jim, for Munetaka Murakami. And I'm looking at this right now, podcast listeners, looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook. They're not sponsoring the show, so don't worry about it. But the reason I mentioned them, because right now what Vegas is thinking for Rookie of the Year award odds, Murakami's got the fifth best odds right now. Trey Savage at the Toronto Blue Jays has the lowest odds. Kevin McConaughey, we've heard much about him from Jim Callis for the Detroit Tigers. Carter Jensen and Kazuma Okamoto, who I believe also signed with Toronto. So lots of Blue Jays on here. And then you got Murakami at plus 800, which means if you put $10 on Murakami to win the Rookie of the Year, you'll win $80. So he's got the fifth best odds. Jim Margulis, yay or nay, Munetaka Murakami, Rookie of the Year?
I will say nay. Not necessarily because it's a bearish view, although I think the PECOTA projections are pretty abnormal, especially with the combination of home runs, walks, and strikeouts. Like you're running a very fine line when it comes to making the most of his contact to get those kind of projections. And it doesn't seem like he'll be able to do that. So something's got to give, whether the batting average craters or the strikeout rate lowers, and he is able to produce more with his contact because he does change his approach a little bit. But I think given the combination of being somebody who's probably going to strike out a lot and low average and first base, like even if he comes through on the power front, which I think would be plenty useful for the White Sox, I think it's more a matter of you have up the middle players like McGonigal or Carter Jensen, Samuel Basayo, somebody could also factor into this race. And I think, when you factor in positions and the kind of defensive boost you get with wins above replacement, other measurements, and, probably a case where do they consider Murakami a rookie? Like if they could choose a 20-year-old or, somebody like Murakami's got plenty of professional experience, are they going to say like, well, he's not really a rookie compared to the way the others are a rookie? I think there are a lot of factors, large and small, even if it gets to the point of where they start thinking about tiebreakers in which player they'd rather give the vote to who feels like a more authentic rookie. I think Murakami's got a lot of going against him for this award, but yeah, there's still a lot of ways that he can be a pleasant surprise and a beneficial signing for the White Sox without, having to earn that necessarily.
So no Jose Abreu repeat.
Correct. Because I think just the hitting skill that Abreu had, the bat to ball, I think is something that if Murakami shows it, great. But I think that's asking a lot from him versus Abreu, where he showed it. It's more a matter of will the power show up. With Murakami, I think it's the opposite of like everybody or nobody questions the power. It's a matter of like, can he, because does the hit tool develop enough against the best pitching in the world to make the most out of lesser contact?
So then let's move over to over-under for Murakami, and it is with home runs. The over-under for Murakami, I'm setting it at 30.5 home runs. James Fegan, are you taking the over or under 30.5 home runs?
I'll say over, just because like that seems to be like pass, fail, somewhere in the middle. That's like what his production is going to be oriented at. He clearly hits the ball extremely hard. The question is how much contact he's going to make. I don't think like the idea that he'll have very loud contact 35 times over the course of the season is outlandish, but there's obviously some possibility for the bottom to fall out and that to affect his playing time in some way. But it is the time for rampant optimism, and we have to express that through. Yeah, I say that so cheerily, obviously. Sure, yes.
All right, so James has got over. How about you, Jim? Are you taking the over or under 30.5 home runs?
I'll also say over, just because I think he'll get the playing time. And when he gets a hold of one, it might go over the fence at a pretty alarming rate. If you set like Joey Gallo as maybe the closest comp in terms of the three true outcomes nature of his game and the raw power, Gallo did that 3 times, hitting 30 homers. Like I'm more interested in like if he hits 31 homers, does he hit like 9 doubles or something like that to where like it just anything that's hit hard goes over the fence? It's just a matter of like he's hitting 203 and everything else is pretty ugly, but the power is fun and occasionally makes you want them to bring the fiberglass goose back to right field to give him some of the hits, I think is going to be, yeah, more or less, maybe not the median outcome, but I think probably the one I'm preparing for, just because the contact issues and the translation between Japan and the US is like both are severe or unknown. So I think even though it's like, not the 50th percentile outcome for PECOTA, I think like I'm kind of preparing for that as like I'm setting the 30th percentile outcome as my 50th and then seeing where he goes from there.
Got it. Okay, so both of you have lowered the bar for Murakami compared to what Baseball Prospectus has for their PECOTA projections. I'm taking the over. I'm pretty optimistic about Murakami. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say he starts this season very similar to the way that Jose Abreu started his rookie season. Like, we could see 8 to 10 home runs from Murakami in the first month, and that just gets everyone hyper excited. Abreu tailed off a little bit because that was the longest season he's ever played, and Murakami, his season has already started in the World Baseball Classic. So I'm expecting at some point the summer slump coming from Murakami, and maybe he slows down in the second half of the season. But I'm taking the over, and he might hit 40 this year, which I think Todd Frazier, right? It was the last one to do that, Jim, 2016.
Sounds right.
Has anyone hit 40 homers since you covered the White Sox, James?
I couldn't get like the opening day outfielders for last season, man, in Sporkle. I don't know why you're asking me.
But you got that random year with Danny Tartabull.
Darren Lewis, Danny Tartabull, and Tony Phillips. I nailed that.
I'm so proud of you. Let us know what you guys are taking, yay or nay. Murakami Rookie of the Year, over, under 30.5 homers. Hit us up on social media or post in the comments section on SoxMachine.com. Thanks for watching the latest Sox Machine video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/SoxMachine. And if you ever need something to listen to, subscribe to the Sox Machine podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, such as Spotify and Apple Music.